Hello friends, my name is Shivam from DevOps Schools and I will help you to enable your learning process in various technologies of DevOps, artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data and many more. This is our initiative to help you by sharing multiple tutorials and videos. And if you want any specific tutorials or any particular topic, then please do comment in the below comment section and I will help you with it. Also, please subscribe to our premium services on YouTube, which will give you access to more content and videos to enhance your knowledge about all these topics. Also, if you want me to help you with regards to the online trainings and classroom sessions by our qualified trainers, then please do write me at contact@devopsschool.com. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So whatever the file we have, according to that file, we have created one user data as a class and we created the getters and setters. We made a Pojo here. So if I want to write it something to database, I require a user data repository, like which extends a CRUD repository to do any CRUD operations. This is our repository class. Then we require a controller. So in the controller, we want to launch our job. So before coming to here, let me just run this application, or in the application.properties. See, we configured job enabled, which is we are not mentioning a bad job enabled by default. We have to enable with our code. So that's what I have written it as a false. Then I want to go with the H2 console because I'm working on H2 database, so that I have configured the H2 database properties here. So let me run my Spring Boot batch. It is 8090. Let it run it. So I will take here local host. So you can see here there are number of tables are created, which is job batch job execution, which is batch job execution, and then we have a batch job execution context, parameter, instances, all this predefined tables got created to work on the batch processing. Then when you go for the user data, which is our entity, and if you just run it, there is no data which is present because we have not started with the job. We just run our application. So I want to launch my job. So how will I launch my job? In the controller, I have configured one uh, request which is called load, 8090 of load. When I just do load it here, you can see within no time we got a completed. Once you got a completed status, if you just run your user data, you're able to see that same 530 or 550 whatever the records is there in the CSV file, it inserted to our table. So this is what the job which is done here within no time. So we got here again, I'm just sending another request, it's just given the completed. So we have our records which is the 530 records which are available here. Okay, so this way we are able to do with the batch processing. But how to do it? So that is what we have to write it. First you have to configure the job and odd job and then the step. So then you should require an item reader, item writer and the item processor. So that is here what first I'm doing here. I'm taking here some user data which we discussed and user data repository. These are all normal codes which we have written as a Spring. So here what we have written in the load controller. Whenever the load controller is load and when we send a load request, so here we are auto wiring a job and auto wiring a job launcher. So this we have written for the get mapping and returning the status of a batch. Is it completed or not completed, or so what is the status which you want to get it? So we created here the batch status enum. It is a enum. So for the batch status, we are throwing some exceptions to be, which is job execution already running, or job restart, or job instance already completion, and job parameter invalid exception. All these three properties which are exceptions which we have configured it here. So let me just take to here controller. So whenever during execution, I want extra parameters, not only the parameters which is there in my CSV file. Apart from that, I require some extra parameters to be taken. Those parameters we will call it as a job parameters. So the job parameter will take the map object, will take any map object. So we created here the map which accept the string and job parameter, which is new hash map. So where map.put, we are adding one more thing which is time, and the new job parameter which is system.current time milliseconds. I've just written only one. Let me just write here maps.put more property for this, like user or a name. I will just give some property which is called here Shweta. So which is I have to give it here with new job parameter, which will take a string. So I'm just giving here the date parameter, that is the string parameter. When this actual, like who has did this job, I've just hard coding some value here. Okay, so maps put name and the new job parameter. So this is like, let me just give it here JName, so that it will becomes a job name. So this is the two parameters which I have added. I want to send it during runtime. Are you clear with the job parameter?
Yeah.
So that is apart from what data we have, if you want to send any other parameters for your job, then we'll take a new enum or the class which is called job parameter. So all the job parameter, we can send it to the new job parameters, which takes a multiple. So that is, it's represent a runtime parameters to a batch job. So where that job parameter, we have to send it to the job execution. The job execution should be started with a job launcher. So that is, we have auto wide here the job launcher. So in the job launcher, where to start your job, this is the first point where you are starting your job. Like if you remember the diagram, so from the job repository, we are getting into the job launcher. So which will start your job to execute it. For that, we are sending a job. What job we are sending? We are auto wiring here the job. So where this job is injected. So that is, if you can see here, we got job from the Spring Batch code. This job we have created in our configuration. In our configuration, we created one job here. Yeah, we created one job here. This job we are sending. So that is, I have taken here to the load controller. That same job I have injected here. So with the job parameter, I'm just starting with the job. If the job is started, I will get the output in the console job execution and what is the status of a job and what is the job ID which is happening. You can see in your console job execution completed and the ID is 2. And then we can see batches running and see it is given here. So number of data, so that is operations from department name converted from to operation. So that is, we have written the job execution, and then if the batch is running, we are getting in the while loop, the job execution is running and we are printing all the job executions. So that is what here we have written. Then we are getting as a returning here the enum which is job execution dot get status. What is the status of a job status that we have taken here? That's what the controller we have written to do the job. Whenever you send a request to this controller or to this method, the job will be launched. When the job should be launching, we require the job. This job to be configured in the configuration. That is, whatever I have explained in the notepad, the same code is available here. So that is job builder factory. Then we took here the job builder factory dot get method. Either you can auto wire it or you can send it here. You can see I have written both. Either you can do the auto wiring or you can send it to your methods also. So job builder factory dot get, I'm writing some method which is called ETL load. You can write any method name which to be written. Then the incrementer is sending, which is run ID incrementer, and I should start my job with the step 1. So this is the method which I want to call it here. For this job, there is a 1 step. So that we have passed here the step 1 and we build it and we return the job. So for that, we took here the step 1, which is step builder factory dot get, which is to take what type of data. It should take both user data should be read and user data should be printed. So for that we are thinking, we are sending chunk of 100. You can take it 100 or 1000. As I have only 500, I took it as a chunk of 100. So I'm taking a reader, processor, writer and building the step. But what type of reader I wanted? So I want to read the data from the file. I want to read the data from the file, so that we have flat file item reader. If you want to read the data from the file, for that we have a specific reader class which is called flat file item reader. For that we created here one item reader. So I have to create the flat file item reader object, and I have to give where is my file system resources. My users.csv is present in my src main resources. This is what the location I have given. So then what is the name of the uh, flat item reader you want to? It is reading the CSV file, so I'm giving here the CSV reader. So where it should start the reading? So that is first line I should skip it. Set lines to skip, because what is the CSV file? In the first row I have data which is a heading. If you just see here, I have a ID, name, department and the salary. So I want to read this data. I don't want to take this data, so it should be skip. So for that we have written here, so that is line to skip is 1. Then the line mapper, I have to map it to this object. Whatever the user data object we got it, each line should be mapped to that. So how will you do the mapping? So for that we will take it here, the line mapper method. We have a line mapper. So if it is a CSV file, it will be a comma separated file. So that's why we have taken here default line mapper. For this we have taken the delimited line tokenizer. In this Java we have string tokenizer, that is to based on the white spaces it will automatically tokenize your string. Or if you want to specify delimiter, you can specify it. And the Spring Boot here we have a delimiter tokenizer. That delimiter tokenizer we have taken, and we have set it here the delimiter as a comma, and set strict should be false. So then what is the names we have to get it? It's a string of ID. The first parameter ID, then second parameter name, third parameter is department, and the fourth parameter is salary. In my table, if you see, the department is a 1 2 3 4, and this is my data which is available. So where if you just see here, the department is giving like DevOps, tech operators and DevOps. So that is, I am mapping this with respect to my other department. So that is here I have first created the tokenizer, and then for the tokenizer I'm setting the values. So then I have to wrap it to my class. So that's what I have created the bean wrapper field set mapper, which the target type is user data. So that for the default line mapper, we have set it here, the line tokenizer and the field set mapper. For each line, it should be mapped to one object, which is called user data. So it is returning here the default line mapper. So this is what which we created as a line mapper bean, and this line mapper bean we are calling in the reader. Either you can create it as a separate reader class, or you can do the reading code as a one bean here. Are you clear with the item reader?
Yes.
Yeah, Chandra.
Yeah, I told yes.
Kavya, Tagama.
Yeah, Shweta. Clear.
Yeah, Shweta.
What about Chandra?
He's saying he understood.
Yeah, I told.
Oh, okay, okay. I'm not
I
getting
think
his voice.
I think some audio issue.
Okay, yeah. So that is we created here the item reader. So if you want to read the data from the file, we are created the flat file item reader. If you have a data in the database, from the database you want to go with the you want to write it to the file. So then we can go with flat file item writer, that is for writing. But now we are reading, so that we have taken here the item reader. For each set of data, from where are you reading, from the file or from the database, which type? So for that you have a specific item reader classes. So that item reader we can be used here. So then once the item reading is done, so we have sent here for the step, sorry, yeah, for the step, then we should go for the item processor. So we created here the item processor, like item reader which take user data, and item processor we sent a user data. So where in the processor we created the implements item processor. What processing which we are doing here? As I shown in the CSV file, I have department as 1, 2, 3. But where I am getting into my database as DevOps Tech Operations. So that is what I'm doing here in the processing. If I'm creating the public process, which is a constructor, and creating one department names. If it is a 1, it should be replaced with a tech. If it is a 2, it should replace with operations. If it is a 3, it should be replaced with the DevOps. Depends on what type of a department ID you have in your CSV file. Once it is read, it should be processed, converting into this to tech. If it's this is a operations, so 3 is their DevOps, that we have to do it. So that we have taken here the process method, which is available in the item processor, and the return type is what the object, the generic which you are sending. So first I'm just getting user.get department in my console. That's what I'm getting in the console. Then here I'm taking first department code equals user.get department. What this user.get department will be written? It will get it what is the department ID which is there in the file, which is there in the file. So I have a department names as my hash map. So how will you get the value of tech? How will you get the value from the hash map? If you pass a key using. That's what we are using. Department names dot get department code. If I sent a department code here, whatever we are getting to the user, then it is returning a department. So that department I'm setting to user dot set department. Instead of department code, I'm setting a department now. So then apart from this, I'm setting the set department. And then apart from that, we need one more property which should be sender, so that you can take it here, private string name. So I just took here the private string jname. If you want any new properties to be added, so like this you can add it and get the setters and getters. So that you have to add it here for the user. So then user dot set jname, and this is, so just to print it in my console, I'm doing the formatting of my string, so which is department code and department I'm getting, and I'm returning a user. Are you clear with the processor? I'm reading the number from the CSV. For each number matching department, I have it in my hash map. I'm getting the department ID and I'm sending the. Are you clear with the processor?
Yeah.
Okay. Kavya and Chandra, yeah, are you clear with the processor?
Yeah, Shweta.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So then now I want to write it to the file. So sorry, write it to my database. How I'll be writing to my database? So where I can write it? I have a database repository which is called user data repository. In the CRUD repository, we have a method to write all the objects at one, which is save all method. So we have taken here user data repository, which is AutoWord of user data repository, and we took here the right, which is list extends a user data of users, and we written the data saved of users, user data repository dot save all method, which is the complete list of users which we are sending here. So that is the writer. Are you clear with the component writer?
Yeah.
Are you clear with the writer? So which
Yeah.
we only just created the object for the user data repository, then written here. Okay. So that's what the steps which we have done it, the configuration and the processor and the DB writer. Then in the load controller, so in the controller, we are sending the map parameters, like this is I just added, like if any extra parameters can be written. So that job parameter, we have to send it to the job parameters. Then the job parameters, we have to add it to your job launcher, because whenever you go or you want to work with the job, so that is batch processing, from the job repository, we have to launch the job. For that, we are using here job launcher dot run method, which takes a job with a job parameter. Then this job execution will be launched here. That is what which we have done. So whenever you send a request from here to the load, so then it will be taken care. So whatever the tables which is created for only for the job execution or the batch execution, so that jobs also, that tables also will be created in your H2. So that is I just took here first H2 console. You can see that where, let me just load this page. So which we have a batch job execution, then run it, job execution ID, version, job instance ID. Till now we don't have any job executions. So let me just send the load. So it just completed. Now you can see there is one job execution, which is job instance ID, and when it is created, what is the start time and what is the end time. It just took only 2 seconds of time. So then if the status is completed and what is the exit code, all these details. Then when you go for batch job execution context, so this is from the short context, which is java.utilmap. And then if you just go for job execution parameters, what is the job execution parameters? We just given only the time value. We have a job instance. That is, what is the job name you have given? ETL load is a job name I have given. So here ETL load is given and the job key is given. So whatever the step executions are done, so that steps will be available here. That is the step execution. So the step name is ETL file load and the job execution ID is 1, and what is the start time and what is the end time and what is the commit counts. So that is, we have total 531 records. 100 records is a one chunk. That's why you can see the commit count is 6, because 6 times the commit has happened. Instead of a chunk of 100, if you do it as a 50, you will get it different chunk commit counts. Okay, so this way you will be getting here the step details, the how many read count and how many write count, how if anything is skipped, if any problem with there, that we will get it here the skip count also, how many files or how many executions are skipped. And when you just go for a job execution, so then you can see what is the batch type and which is the tasklet step, or what is a read count and the chunk oriented tasklet, and it is a CSV file reader. All this information is given here. So where if you go for your actual user data, it will give here what is the 531 records which is done here. So that's what the batch processing is happening. So are you clear with the batch processing here?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Kavya message. She has a okay network issue. Power went off. Okay. Tangama, are you clear?
Yeah, Shweta.
Okay. So that is basically you have to configure your have to write it, read it, item writer, item reader, item processor, and the job and the step. For that you require a job builder factory and step builder factory. So this configurations to be taken care with respect to a job. So that is about the Spring Batch. So where you have we just have to discuss one more thing, which is as yeah, Spring with RabbitMQ. So how this Spring with RabbitMQ will be working. So basically RabbitMQ will be used for the messaging. So that is if you go to post office and you just put some letter, so somebody will take and come and like that person will be picked up and delivered to that address. So same way the RabbitMQ will be a message broker. So where it will be working with respect to the Spring, like we can configure this RabbitMQ. So where we will be having a queues, we'll have a topic. So either you can send your data to the queue or the object, or you can send it to the topic also. Depends on your requirement. We can configure it in the Spring with Spring Boot with the RabbitMQ. So so where you can consume it or you can send it the RabbitMQ data. So where one application can be publish the message and one application can be and another application can be consume the message with a queue. So that is, it can be prepared one and it can be sent it to the queue. So where you require dependencies to be working on, which is your RabbitMQ dependency. So where RabbitMQ is built on top of Erlang.
Please enroll our general membership for $3.99 plan to get access of all the parts.
Along with that, you can access our other tutorials such as Docker, Ansible, Jenkins, Terraform, Splunk, AWS, Azure, and various other DevOps related premium tutorials with our channel membership. If you would have any issues with our channel membership, you can drop an email to us at contact@devopsschool.com, or you can also unsubscribe from channel membership anytime if you don't want to continue or did not like the video. To get our channel membership, click onto the join button, select the $3.99 plan and grow your skills immensely. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries. We will reply to them at the earliest. Thanks for watching.